It's a good old-fashioned test match. The prize that awaits France is one they first claimed 54 years ago. Eddie Jones, England, are what stand between France and their 10th Grand Slam. It's probably fair to say that this final Super Saturday has followed anything but a predictable path so far. Wins for Italy in Cardiff, remarkable that, and for Ireland at home to Scotland. So this is how we're left, with just one match to go in this year's Guinness Six Nations. Ireland on top for now, but any sort of win for France will see them claim the title and Grand Slam for the first time since 2010. Well, Ella Fitzgerald would approve of the kind of day we've had in the French capital. Paris in the springtime. Perfect conditions on one of rugby's great, and dare I say, theatrical occasions. Look at the scene. Well, into the tunnel. And as the famous French rugby newspaper Midi Olympique has declared, Fabien Galtier's golden generation find themselves at the gates of history. 12 long years since Thierry Dusautoir led France to the Grand Slam, and with it, the title. It's rugby's greatest championship, and it reaches its climax under the lights in Paris, although at the moment, those lights are dimmed. But believe me, the moment the players step out of the tunnel, there will be an almighty roar at the Stade de France. England have blown hot, but more often than not cold, over 4 rounds. Defeat in Edinburgh, free-flowing and victorious in Rome. They limped across the line against Wales, and now, after last week's stubbornly brave yet ultimately unsuccessful match against Ireland, they arrive in Paris, desperate to save their campaign. Short of France making the World Cup final here in 18 months' time, you simply could not imagine an atmosphere like this one. Well, before the anthems, the teams will come together, as they have done throughout the championship, to demonstrate their support of rugby's unity against racism, and also, given the shocking events of the past month or so in Eastern Europe, there will be a message on the stadium's big screen from both the French Federation and their English counterparts condemning Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The message clear there: racism is unacceptable in rugby and everywhere else in life. Equally so, there is the applause for both teams' solidarity with the plight and the people of Ukraine. A full house in the northern suburbs of Paris. Next, the anthems.
Dear friends, please stand up for the national anthems. We will start with the national anthem of England.
Well, the second line of the Marseillaise declares the day of glory has arrived. These are the 15 men charged with making it happen. It's been a long time since a France team was as settled as this one. 2 alterations, both involved bringing back players who were ruled out last week because of COVID. It's an unchanged pack. Injury to Yoram Moefana and the return of availability of Damien Penaud has taken away a possible selection dilemma on the wing. Penaud's father Alain was in the France side, which won the Grand Slam 25 years ago. England are desperate to save their championship. Nick Azikwe comes in at lock for the suspended Charlie Ewels. Will Stewart replaces Carl Sinclair at tight head, and there's the first appearance of the championship for Sam Underhill at 7. Into the backs, where Ben Young starts for the first time since the opening weekend in Edinburgh. The selection at fullback of George Furbank is a bold one. Freddie Stewart shifts to the wing to accommodate him. Let's move on to the replacements, where the inclusion of Romain Taofifenua is France's second change. For England, the Leicester pair Nick Dolly and Ollie Chessum are recalled. Well, kick-off moments away now in Paris. Welcome wherever you're watching in the world. I'm Martin Gillingham. Alongside me, the former England scrum half, Dowie Morris.
Thank you, Martin. Yeah, everybody's been waiting for this game in Paris. It's been a long day so far for players and supporters. I just hope it stands up to the billing, because I think we're in for one heck of a game.
Julian Marchand has been in stunning form, particularly over the last 2 rounds. Jamie George has rejuvenated his Test career. The match ball awaits. Well, we've seen this before in France.
I wish they'd drive that slow around the streets. It is quite hairy. And eventually it gets there. We're just told Jaco Paper says it's 30 seconds or so to go. Intermat picks it up, and we're nearly there.
Well, there is Jaco Paper, the South African referee, who incidentally was the referee when France lost to Wales in the quarter-final of the World Cup in Oita. And judging by something that's been written in the papers this week in France, France believe that Paper owes them something. The first catch there from Sam Simmons, one of those 2 Sams in the back row for England. 1 or 2 interesting calls by Eddie Jones, particularly among the back 3 today, and also there Ben Youngs. He presumably there for his kicking game.
He certainly is on that one with the last box kick. Very well taken by France, and now they're off this handling, ball-skilling game. But I tell you what, first up, the forwards will just want to get this one out, give it to Dante right in the middle as they're doing now, make some dents in that England defence early on.
Oh, and the first spill, and it's come from Geelong, who scored that try. Proved to be the only try last week in Cardiff.
It's very interesting that Villiers just throwing the ball at Marcus Smith, because that's where England, Jamais goes up for that ball, that's where England hide Marcus Smith in the defensive line. They put him out on the wing, but Villiers, as we know, pound for pound, there he is with the red scrum cap on, is one of the strongest players in this French squad. Geelong will not be happy with that mistake, though.
No, Geelong, one of those 9 Toulouse players in the 23.
Control.
Really carved out his career just down the road an hour or so from Toulouse at Castres. France with a weight advantage in the pack of something like 43 kilos. So that's round about 5 kilos a man. That's quite significant.
There's a few. Antonio's carrying a few in the front row, but again, international rugby, you've got to base it on your set piece. We saw what England did to Ireland at Twickenham last weekend, legally or illegally. Speaking to Bernard Jackman, obviously he's coached out here and played for Ireland. He was a hooker, and said actually they were legal at certain times. But he said there was a little bit going on. Well, there's always a little bit going on in the front row. Let's have a look here.
Drugs. Boy. Set.
So first scrum of the match, Will Stewart on the tight hand side.
Good.
Up against Cyril Bay. Good start there for England. That was Henry Slade. Smith just tries to slide it through and forces Jaminet to turn. Jaminet caught by Underhill, who will tackle and tackle his way through today. Benched is Gabin Villiers, who mops things up for France.
And use it, Lou.
Referee urging France to use it, and that is the sort of typical exit you get from Antoine Dupont. Scrum halves these days, if they get it to the 10-metre line, their own 10-metre line, they're happy. That's gone well over halfway.
But again, you can see Marcus Smith coming off the back of a Slade pass, standing at first receiver, just chipping the ball through, wanting France to turn. What I like about it, Villiers comes across, they work in as a very good back three, France. He's the first guy there over top of that ball to pick it up and drive forward for France. So it's a good sweeping arc there from the back three.
Just to mark your card about what happens here. Nothing short of a victory will do for France here. That will obviously claim them a Grand Slam, but they have to win to also win the championship. At the moment, Ireland, after their win against Scotland earlier today, they're now up to 21 points. That's 3 more than France. England will almost certainly finish third, whatever happens here, win or draw, and even lose, as long as it's not by 46 points or more.
Yeah, Smith not quite happy, he wasn't pinpoint there, but England's intention there is just turn France at every opportunity with the boot. Surprise, surprise.
Look at the way that Cameron Woki just palmed that down to his scrum half. First catch there for George Furbank, who made his Test debut here in this match 2 years ago when he didn't have such a good time. That was the match which featured that incredible punt, the spiral punt from Anthony Boutier, the France fullback. Here's Ellis Genge getting a run. Well, the referee was fairly comfortable with that, just ricocheting off Nick Ezekwe.
He could have blown for it, but actually Akapepa's done absolutely right. Keep the game flowing.
And the jeers in the crowd, you could close your eyes, you'd know where this game was being played from on the basis of the crowd noise. Could only be in Paris in a Test match.
Well, Jaminet's getting kept quite busy at the moment, but they, France again kick the ball a heck of a lot of times, so they won't be, too fussed with this. Here we go again, Genge on the charge once more.
Well, Genge carrying a few metres. He had a super game last week against Ireland. Well, England already having got beyond the point when they were reduced to 14 men last week. There's Jack Nowell. France get the penalty.
It's the guy there, Gregory Ulrich. I've got to have him down as probably the best informed number 8 in the world rugby at the moment. Crucially, he was slightly off colour, as most of France were, weren't they, down in the Principality in Wales last week? They played the get-out-of-jail cards, definitely down there. They'll want to be the jailers today to lock down England, to try and win this Grand Slam, elusive Grand Slam for the first time in 12 years for France. And that guy will be at the key of it. Ulrich, fantastic player. He sweeps a lot for France. He carries it. And Genge's Vico just get flailed away. But again, you can see England trying to play out the back. This is a good ball over the top. Penaud squeezing too hard. He's jumped in. But again, that lovely drift defence of Sean Edwards, drift defence of France, just closes things down.
Yeah, Sean Edwards now the defence coach, of course, for France. If France win here today, it'll be a 4. Oh, and that's spelled by Fickou.
He was through. He was through. That was a lovely move, right up into the eyes of the English defence. This is where Woki's good. Cross gets up. And look at this, right in the eyes. There's 3 people sucked in. That ball goes. He's through. I'm not saying it was a try score. There was defenders for England, but this goes now from Penaud off his right wing into the midfield. Fickou, 99 times out of 100, he takes that. He's a superb player, skillful player. England let off.
It was Jack Nowell, I think, covering across from the wing, but the reality was that was a clean line break and could have led to something that would have produced points for France. A warning shot across the English bow. A scrum penalty to France. Hinging, says the referee.
Well, you've got two good coaches, Richard Cockrell and William Servat.
Thanks.
For
Just
England,
as
obviously,
we pulled up
Servat.
pressure, one hinged and offloaded him.
There we go, hinging, and Servat obviously will be. I've looked at the videos from last week, one with a wry smile, obviously with England sort of destroying
up to
Ireland
him
in the
off
set
the
piece. Was it 5 penalties or 5 penalties and a free kick? But France knew what was coming and what is coming. They didn't give an inch there. Well, you could say that France prop's gone long-legged, but again, Jakob Peyper is right there in front of them. Everyone smiles. Jaminet, is he going to be smiling after this? He's right in front, just about 2 yards, 3 yards past the 10-metre line.
He missed a couple against Scotland, but he has been first class since he made his debut for France on the Tour de Australia last year. Well, they say the youth are nerveless. That young man has only been playing professional rugby for 2 years. Made his France debut before it even played a match in the top 14.
The Perpignan Punisher. Again, you just watch the kicker, and he just struck that, and that was going well into the stand there. He just turned around, picked the tee up, and said, "Thank you very much."
The catch there from Aldred.
Lost it!
Here's Dupont. Now let's mark this exit again.
And use it.
Halfway, it's pretty much level par for Dupont.
Well, I'd say it's a low box, isn't it?
That is remarkable.
And now
That's
England,
gone 15 metres into England territory.
well, Ellis Genge at the moment is playing number 8. He's back there sweeping up everything and driving forward.
Well, he's certainly working up a few carry metres there, is Ellis Genge.
Advantage, knock on.
The ball going forward off a French hand, so it is an England advantage. There goes Stewart.
So advantage.
Out
Advantage
from
over from
Youngs.
knock on.
On to Smith. The referee says the advantage is over. That is the halfway line. Youngs in position again. England's most capped ever international, Ben Youngs. There he is, out to Jack Noel. The tackle coming from the France captain.
No.
Sam Simmons presents it.
Ball was out.
On there to Smith. Smith hoisting. Entomac is back. Oh, and it was well taken by Stewart. Stewart earning his 10th cap today. But that is a penalty that goes against England. Well, they got the first bit right, very right. But Gabin Villiers,
He's over the top of it again.
Didn't do it.
Listening to Eddie Jones's pre-match interview to Martin Bayfield, and he was saying, well, you know, they've picked Stewart out there because he's obviously a big lad, and they did the first part superbly well. Unfortunately, he just held on to the ball. But again, France know exactly what's coming. Villiers is so quick to get down, use his strength. Again, he's one of the smallest out there, but I tell you, he's one of the strongest. So at the moment, England they're using the kicking battle to kick to compete, but it isn't working. Yes, he does the first thing very well, but is there enough people there? Does superbly well there, and then just actually gets isolated a bit. The support isn't quick enough to get over top of him, and then that's what happens. He's holding onto the ball.
Marshall goes over the back, and Cross couldn't keep hold of it, and it went forward. So there have been one or two uncomfortable moments for France so far. The ball slipping through the fingers.
Well, they had to change things up because down in Cardiff, Woki is a fantastic line-out jumper, and normally they just throw him up any position, two ball, 4 ball at the back, and he wins it. And you've got to say Wales did an absolute job on him and stifled the flow of good ball. So who else is the jumper? Well, you've got Cross, who can, he can get up there, but again, you can just see the lines of communication between Marchand and him, the hooker, and the jumper's not quite going right. If England can just keep this up, keep the concentration up, and put France off the game, a bit like Wales did, well, who knows? Stranger things have happened.
Bill Rowland showed them the way last week, and I think it's probably why Eddie Jones has opted for Nick Ezekwe at lock rather than perhaps a Joe Launchbury for this match. Decent kick there from Henry Slade. Jaminet from a tight angle goes in field.
Run 5.
Hanging back is Marcus Smith. He looks up, sees a bit of space to the right. Well, that was an awkward one for Jaminet. Good chase from England. That's a miscue. Burbank on here to Noel. He's got options. Itoje goes through. Referee's playing an advantage here to France. The breakdown again proving something of a problem for England. The inside ball there to Danty. Danty's away. Oh, and that time Damien Penaud was in between them. Well, they're creating space. They are creating line breaks. But there have been one or two handling errors creeping in there, Derby.
Yeah, two definitely. You can see that if they take that pass, they are going to cause havoc with that English defensive line. Their willingness to attack from their own 22, we know that. You just watch the history under Fabien Galthié. This side that's sort of, experienced under 20s rugby, they just go and play. That guy in particular, they're just superb, turning that ball on England. Just, you know what England want to play. They want to play territory, they want to play the kicking game, they want to frustrate France, they want to try and get there at the set piece. Whereas France, like you said, just one or two to get isolated. That doesn't work at international rugby. Courtney Lawes is just taking it one up, and then he got no support. Whereas Penaud back inside to Danty. There, that ball goes. I'm not saying again you're under the post with that, but all of a sudden, these are passes that France and these players normally take 99 times out of 100. So, again, there is hope for all those England supporters.
Well, you do have to wonder that the weight of expectation may be proving a little bit heavy on one or two shoulders early on. 80 minutes in which to end 12 years of underachievement for France. But could this be the moment? There's some space for Villiers. Villiers taking on Marchand. 8 metres out front. Dupont. Francois Cross. The Toulouse players operating in tandem. Well gathered by Villiers, the offload, that's Woki. Here's Dupont again, they'll go wide this time. They've got the numerical advantage. Fickou, can he get in the corner? Yes, he can. France have their score. They held their nerve certainly that time.
Well, you said the numerical advantage, it was there. England weren't down to 14, they had 15 players on the pitch, not like last weekend. Woki, crucial, just takes the ball, and that was far too easy, really, from a French point of view. Yes, it was good, but actually, they were just coming around the guard. The ball goes out. You think Villiers is going to go on the outside, but look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 England defenders come in there. He does the right thing, and then that's his scrum half skill. From the Rouen club originally, he's played in the centre, played scrum half, but also wing, and now it's just a matter of numbers, as you said, Martin. Ball over the top, let it bounce in at the corner. Again, you could say brilliant France. It's what France do. They exploit, sort of distances and space out wide, and then he just carrying on with the big runners straight at the middle initially, and then go out to the right wings or the left wings, and they score. And that's a dream start, really. Frustrating for France early doors, but they've got the first try.
Ntamack could even afford the deliberate bounce pass.
For me, number 4, White jumped across and landed
8 points to 0. Can Melvin Jaminet take Les Bleus into double figures? Well, it tried hard to get back.
They did, but non monsieur. But again, this is too easy, isn't it? So again, you can see the alarm bells going off. Everyone sort of cramps up a little bit in that midfield defence of England. They don't quite know where the attacks come in, and then Dupont, with all his skill, over the top. There's plenty of guys out on that right-hand side, Fickou being one of them. Again, going to plan at the moment for France.
Well, the French call the English Le roast beef at the moment. They are immersing them in a heavy dollop of French mustard.
Again, any kids watching, you watch Aldrit there. He went up for the ball, took it superbly, got hit by Itoje, I think it was, rocketed back, but the presentation of the ball to allow that ruck to happen and Dupont to kick away was outstanding. Full length, pencil presentation back to the 9.
On the ball.
Well, they clearly trust Ellis Gengen. Elis Genge's engine. Another carry there from the loose head prop. Here's Slade. Marchand having to reach above his head for that one.
And release!
Here's Ben Youngs. Carry there from Sam Simmons.
Bonnet.
Simmons has scored a hat-trick of tries the last time he was in France, playing for Exeter against Montpellier. That was in the Heineken Champions Cup.
Again, that was a silly penalty from France this time. Antonio going well off his feet, and Willemse just being a bit of a nose on the wrong side. So yeah, that was a gift, 3 points for England if they do convert it.
So the penalty is at the same place.
Yeah, good paper. Well, Courtney Lawes, obviously captain today, is asking exactly why. I think he knew, but just making his presence felt to the referee.
Yeah, but he fell on the ball. He slowed down the ball.
They're all at it, and captains are allowed to do it. They can ask for the referee's decision and why he gave it, so it's part of the game.
Well, there we can see the France management, who, according to my maths, have got 8 Grand Slams between them. 3 for Fabien Galtier, 2 for Rafa Ibanez, and 3 for Sean Edwards. So Marcus Smith, can he open England's account? The answer is yes. 8 points to 3.
I think those lads are enjoying those 3 pints, or 3 points, I should say.
I rather suspect they've had rather more than 3
slip.
pints, but there
great.
you go.
There was a lot of colour around Paris in the streets. It was fantastic this afternoon. The sun was shining. Spring is not officially here, I believe, but my word, it was good fun. Now
Sam Simmons straight into Geelong.
Release! Last feed.
Approaching
Bring
the
back.
end of the opening quarter. France lead, they'll be
And use
fairly
that.
satisfied with it. Although they might think that perhaps they've left 1 or 2 points out there already. Ooh. Well,
I've got to say, well done for Jaminet, because he's not milking this at all. I think this is just total confusion.
well, this could prove interesting. Marius Jonker is the
Marius will
television
come to
match
you in a
official.
minute.
That's
Listen in.
Frank Murphy.
Listen in.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, Marius.
Okay, Jaco, I'm listening.
Okay, so we obviously got the play. You got to give me some space.
Courtney
We've
Lawes.
obviously got the player
trying to
that's still
offer
in the
his
air
view.
being made contact with. But we need to roll it back further and just see whether the players running back is doing anything wrong.
It is dangerous.
Right, so we're going to play it
for
back
Noel,
from just after the kick was taken, and we'll have a look from there.
but what
Thank
they're
you.
trying to find out was Noel sort of pushed into Jaminet.
If they run straight back to the ball, it's good. If they change a line, it's mitigation.
So they're
Okay, we're going
looking
to
at the role
we're going
here
to have
of
a look at a
Damien
wide angle. Here
Penaud.
we go.
Keep your eyes on the man with 14 on his back for France.
Well, Noel runs
Can we
into,
get a closer
listen,
shot? Just a player that comes from the touchline side in towards the ball.
Okay, we're going to have a look at that.
see, that's quite dangerous, because Noel is not looking at the jumping guy at all.
Is that 14?
Yeah, we're having a look at 14. We're getting the angle
Hey,
for you, Jaco. We are looking at 14 blue
Yes.
coming in from the touchline. Here we go.
Okay, 14, track his run. He's towards the ball. He's gone. Has he gone across or not?
Yeah, he has gone across. He has gone across, Jaco, and I believe that there was some interference, blockage from him.
Therefore, he is the penalty, and it's not foul play against the white player that was impeded.
Yeah, correct. So
you.
that's correct. Yeah, he did. He definitely came from the touchline, and
you.
there was an amount of blocking.
14. 14. Number 14.
See,
Well, England hearts
Okay.
were in mouths
So
here.
what we got is, whilst he run back, He crossed the path of the ball, therefore he interferes with this player. Penalty against him because he caused this. Thank you. Thank you. Oh yeah.
Well, I saw something in the Irish and Scottish game today, which was from a prop, I'm not going to mention, with a forearm smash to the jaw, and Wayne Barnes said something in the region, it's just a rugby incident. I'll leave it at that, because I'm sure people will have seen it, and that's another rugby incident that I can't quite understand, but there's better people, obviously, than me in the TMO truck and refereeing. Off we go again.
Smith. Another carry from Genge. That was Slade. This is Noel being forced back by Gael Fickou. Stewart replacing Carl Sinclair today because Sinclair has only trained once in the last couple of weeks.
Hold.
There's Jonathan Danty pivoting, kicking, almost reaching touch. Well, in fact, he did reach touch. The flag is up from Frank Murphy.
Well, you can see England's game plan is give it to Genge up the middle, and then Ben Youngs, my love, what on earth are you doing? That's an indecisive kick at best. When he's trying to just dribble it over the top, which is never going to work.
You're on the edge.
This is Furbank. If he picks that, his foot's out.
Good call.
Again, what's he doing?
He's already outside, he picks it up, so he takes it out. Yeah. Keep the gap.
Two bad mistakes from England. Schoolboy.
Julien Marchand finds Aldrit.
Advantage on the lifter.
It's a penalty advantage being played into France. That's Marchand. The England 22 just ahead. There's Danty presenting it. And there's Cyril Bay with a bit of help from Paul Willemse. They're going forward here of France. Aldrit again. The attempted offload to Dupont. And the referee is going to take it all the way back for the penalty.
Mate, this is good old-fashioned French rugby, or any good rugby coming from the forward. They're just playing cherry balls, one out from Dupont with big props coming on. It was great there, a little break off that line out. Straight away, again, for school kids watching, Fickou understood that there was going to be an isolation. He got in there, and then that allowed the props to come. 1, 2, 3, dent in. Aldrit tries to get the ball away from Dupont to Dupont. It's a penalty, it's a play, a free play in a sense. I think they'll take the 3 because they want this Grand Slam. But the way France are playing, it's easy. They're getting yards after yards. England's line speed on the defence is not good enough to stop this wave, this blue wave crashing all around at the moment.
Always 15 in.
Well, the mantra tends to be that you can't win a test match when you concede a double-figure number of penalties. England already up to 5, and we're barely, 3 minutes into the second quarter of the match.
Coaches like to keep it to 10 or 11, don't they? And they said that's about it. They can manage those, but 5. And if England don't stop this rampaging, you've got to say French pack, they are going to ratchet up.
And Jaminet just sneaks it inside the right hand upright. France are into double figures. Well, when France completed that Grand Slam 12 years ago, it was Morgan Parra who kicked 9 of those points. And there's almost a certain similarity. You remember the way Morgan Parra used to have that little forward lean before he kicked? It's something that Melvin Jaminet has as well, although of course Morgan Parra, a left-footed kicker, Jaminet off the right. Here goes Furbank. On to Simmons. Can't get past Geelong. On to Smith. Jamie George was on his left shoulder. Youngs on to Slade. The carry from Ezekwe. Big tackle coming from Jonathan Danty. Marchant.
Ball's available.
Going up.
No way through that very carefully marshalled defensive line. Noel against Jaminet again. And this time I think Noel may have hurt himself. Seems to be holding his arm, perhaps his shoulder. Back to Ntamak.
Stop. And play.
Smith. That's for Freddie Stewart to chase. Oh, Stewart gets there. The Leicester fullback, playing with 14 on his back today, is imperious under the high ball.
And where's the scrum half?
Turn over mine.
Fantastic tackle by Dupont. France turn it over, and there's nobody back for England, and look at that. One bounce into touch.
England are playing like a continental breakfast at the moment. Come down, put your slippers on and take what you want. It's just so easy. Again, great kick. Stewart will do this all day. He'll diffuse bombs at the back, but also he'll nick a few. This is superb. He's a big lad, strong lad. That's excellent. Then you get up, and who's playing scrum half? One of the best second rows in world rugby. Well, he could be a best second row. He ain't a best number 9. There you go. They nick it, which they do for fun, France, because everyone can do that. And the relieving pressure is 40, 45, 50 metres. Like I said, they're just serving this game up for France.
You can't do this, mate.
You have to be on your mettle to come to Paris to win a game to start with, or to stop France in their tracks winning a Grand Slam. You've got to be precise, almost 100%, play the perfect game. Jaminet, superb.
11 whites coming off, injury.
So Daly will be on, I'm sure.
Yes, Jack Noel clearly has damaged that wrist. It's not quite a like-for-like swap, but Elliot Daly has started on the wing, as well as in the midfield, as well at fullback under Eddie Jones, but on he comes.
What are you getting at, Martin? He has nailed down a position under Eddie Jones. He ain't the only one.
He's a versatile fella.
Oh, he's a good player. You give him space, he's quick. He's got one howitzer of a boot, if you want to get out of jail, kicking-wise.
Turnover numbers very striking as well for France. England yet to have one. France dominant and the breakdown. Youngs. Jaminet's called for it again. Outstanding from the Perpignan fullback. There's Antonio. Taken on by Francois Cross. Here's Marchant. This French team really have leaders everywhere. Cross himself, who's former captain of the France under-20 side. Marchant, who is the captain of the Toulouse. Look at this from Jaminet. They're starting to enjoy themselves, but well, I don't think the pass was the best, but perhaps a man of Gavin Villiers' quality should be grabbing that.
Well, Furbank here at 0, they did so well with the football volley, in a sense, off a ball, and then he just sells himself to his. This goes up because there was no other option for Ntamak. Again, ball just doesn't quite go there. He does superbly well, then just shows himself, just slow up. Don't charge it at the guy in Jaminet, then just, that's a shocker. That is an absolute, Villiers, a tremendous rugby player, he ain't catching that. And that goes down, I think that's about the third, maybe possibly the fourth mistake. And then France are through that English white line, and you know, again, ominous signs, because it's so easy for France to do. Luckily for England, the precision is not there.
Yes, I think that the handling errors stance may be instructive reading. Only to perhaps reflect how many points that maybe France have left out there so far. Tremendous carry from Marchant, the Harlequin. There's Youngs.
Taken out.
There's an advantage here being played for England. Smith. On to Stewart.
Still advantage.
Eddie Jones has been impressed with Will Stewart during this campaign. Here's Slade. Aldrit getting over it, but the referee
All
was
right.
playing that penalty advantage.
Thank you.
Take
Aldrit
three.
has
Taken
been
out on the
penalised.
Sorry, Martin, take 3, England. That was better. You made a few dents yourself. Dante slipped off a tackle, which is almost unheard of.
Mark.
Slade operating
Okay.
things then, almost like a
All
second
I saw is
receiver.
when you take him out, okay? Through the tackle.
It was time for really France to start scrambling
What are we
back
doing?
and get that defensive line up.
Shot.
That much vaunted, defensive line from Sean Edwards. And this is the right decision. England really haven't been in this game so far in the first 28, but take every
eight
point
blue
you get
taking
down the
out
meters. Well,
12
Gench,
12 wide.
like I said, he's playing like a number 8. He's having to do the hard yards up front. And Martian this time, Dante just gets that all wrong. He's there, but he slips off, and well done, Martian. That's what we need more of. The centre straightening things up. Dupont eventually brings him down, but it's that 3, 4, 5 metres past that gain line, and then as a 9, whatever, you can bring these big animals on and sort of starting to do some damage into that French midfield.
So one success from one attempt so far for Marcus Smith. It's now 2 from 2. The deficit is cut to 5.
Joy for the supporters. Again, take everything that's on offer. You get down there, you bust a tackle, you see what happens. You gain some territory. They infringe, France infringe, and give you a kickable 3, which they've done.
That was spilled by Simmons.
Happy with that, Frank? Thank you.
Reclaimed by Sam Underhill,
On the
playing
ground,
for
on the
England for
ground.
the first time since the narrow win against the world champions South Africa back in November. Another catch for
Back of
Jaminet.
White.
Went back off Elliot Daly and then back off Henry Slade. England have it. There's Youngs. More catching practice for Jaminet.
Rook!
To Winnie Antonio.
And away! No, don't milk it.
10 metres inside the France half. Wasted by Dupont. Pinot's after it. Daly was there underneath it.
Is that play on?
Gathered by Azikwe.
Blue.
Referee just checking if there was a
Knock
knock
on.
on. There was off a French hand, so there is scrum advantage being played.
Advantage over.
That now falls away. More catching practice for Jaminet.
No!
We're through
No!
the half hour.
Tackler in.
France need a win to take the championship. Nothing else will do, but if they do win, not just the championship, but their first Grand Slam for 12 years. When they did it here, it was against England. Very tight match, 12 points to 10. Just one try scored by Ben Foden for England. There's that little skip from Marcus Smith. Burbank is quite an athlete, made some meters.
Knocked it on.
But the ball has gone forward off an England hand.
It's almost England are not used to throwing the ball or carrying the ball and passing the ball.
Right foot.
This is the
Right
problem.
foot.
I mean, apart from the
Don't take it
Italy
off,
game, how many tries have England got? 2? 3?
Very good now.
It's not many. So you've got a situation when they actually go with it. Great, they've made a, this is superb. This frightens defences. All of a sudden, again, you get Furbank is through, he slips a tackle. Villiers, you're not going to go too far, but whatever. And then, unfortunately, again, where's the 9? You've got a big 6'5" fullback come wing trying to get down, bend down to become a scrum half's job.
Yes, England have 7 tries in the championship, but 5
Five
of
from
those
it, yeah. So
against Italy. So it was just 2. One of those against Scotland. That was in defeat, scored by Marcus Smith. And then there was the
Dombrandt, was it?
try
Wales?
from Alex Dombrandt
But you see,
against Wales.
You see what I'm trying to say? They almost like, oh, I don't quite know what to do with it. Because the first situation, I understand you kick to compete, you kick to get territory. Eddie Jones' obsession with you, the more you kick, the more games you win. Well, you're not developing your running game then, and that causes problems.
Compare those 7 England tries with Gaël Ficou's opening score here was France's 15th in the championship.
And I think 7 of those comes from counter-attack, so that shows the ability of this French side to turn, you know, good turnover ball is, like we know, the best ball to attack with, but France do it with precision. You can see why Dupont is kicking a little bit more from the base, because again this game is so important for the whole of France.
Break foot.
They just don't want to make too many mistakes, but when they'll get down in that 22, they will go for it.
And this sequence of France victories stretches earlier than the start of this Guinness Six Nations campaign. They've now won their last 7 test matches. The last time they won 8 on the trot was back in 2004. It's a free kick to France.
Hang on, there's a long reach from you, so I think it starts there. Let him come to you. There's a long reach from one.
Can I close it up?
Yes, a little bit. But keep your feet, don't lean in. Yeah, it's the first time it's blue ball and a picture change.
Just give him another go.
No, don't lean over the cliff, yes. That's good for me. Approach! Boy!
Romain Ntamak.
Set!
Ntamak being paired with Antoine Dupont for the 15th time here. And look at the power there of that France scrum. The arm is out from Jakub Peyper. It will be a penalty.
Out of the blocks forward and you drop your shoulders.
Well, this French front row has been remarkable throughout this championship. There's the fella who originates from the southern suburbs of Auckland.
Great lover of Shakespeare, I read this week. Mr. Antonio, you wouldn't exactly say that for a front row forward. I think Jaminet is going for... That wasn't, yes, okay. He has got the distance, but again, that was incredible intent from this French. They just almost said, right, okay, I don't think England will be expecting this because we've got a move called out the backs, but they didn't. They put it right at the back at Aldridge, and they just give England some medicine that they gave Ireland last weekend, and that is a drive straight. You'll have liked that one, the little lad, but don't play in the front row. It's bad for your ears.
There's plenty of face paint around because when the fans came in a couple of hours or so before kick-off, they all found a France flag, a blue beret, and also some face painting equipment. That's what tends to happen when you're just trying to eke out those extra few meters.
It is, but he's got the distance. Again, I think that was just badly struck. But it's worth it because it pins England back down in the 22. You've got 5 minutes. They're in the right area to close the first half off. This is where France will want them. Yeah, they wanted more points on the board, but it wasn't going to be that easy. England came as underdogs.
Right.
France chasing that first Grand Slam for 12 years. Could they cope with the pressure at the moment? You've got to say they have done, and they've managed this game brilliantly so far.
Well, we've already seen the sort of quality that this France team can produce, but tonight, perhaps rather more about nerve and temperament. There goes Jonathan Danty, who hails from not that far from here, from the northern suburbs of Paris. Itoje turning it there. There goes Marchand. Can't get past the captain. Villiers getting over the ball, but he's cleaned out. Here's Genge. Smith. England starting to warm to their task a little here. There's Youngs. Slade this time. Good tackle around the legs from Francois Cross, and yet another turnover from France. And now it's a penalty.
It's great intent for England. They can play it. It's just that they haven't been playing this style throughout the Six Nations, you've got to say. They get isolated. Slade then tries to go through, but there's no one with him. It's the first thing you teach. Whether someone's passed you the ball or someone's supporting you, you make sure you get at that rack. You make sure that that ball comes back very, very quickly. That's what France do. England, fortunately, they just do some great stuff. Ezekwe right up the middle, great. You've got a chance now. Woof. There's no one there. No one there following him. Furbank has gone to the left. This is so easy. It's just too easy again, just to turn that ball over. Knock-ons happen, it doesn't matter. The penalty was coming, and France are right back now where they wanted to be. This time with a throw-in.
So Marchand, it's quite a night actually. We've got Julien Marchand playing at hooker. We've got Joe Marchant in the centre for England. And then we've got the occasional bars from the Marseillaise where the crowd are urging France to Marchand, Marchand. Here goes Julien Marchand, right on cue. Dupont.
Away!
Dupont, just for a moment, thought he saw a little chink of light.
First man.
Underhill has got it. First turnover for England. And now a chance perhaps to counter. Here's Stewart. Cuts in field. The tackle from Gillon. Gillon, a try scorer here against Italy, as well as in that crucial win last week against Wales. The kick pass meant for Daly, but it's just plucked out of the sky by Jaminet. That was a miscue from the England fly half. Julien Marchand plays impromptu scrum half. That's the halfway line. Marchand again, taking quite a liking to that. Here's Cyril Bay, who's got very soft hands, as illustrated there. Ntamack onto Fickou. Fickou to Villiers. Gillon's looking for it out wide. Here is Gillon as he did last week against Wales. They're inside the England 22. Dupont. Jaminet. Aldrit. The despairing hand there of Willemse. Well, for a moment, France had the numerical advantage out wide, but they couldn't get it out there. They'll have to rebuild. There goes Aldrit. Willemse.
And use it.
Dupont just doing the gesticulation. Here's Danty being met by Courtney Lawes. Cyril Bay, the offload to Dupont. Here goes Aldrit. France working up some momentum, and look at this, it's Ntamack! Ntamack is through, held up a metre out. Francois Cross right in the thick of things, the ball is down, and that looks like the hand of Francois Cross to me.
Unbelievable tackle from Genge initially, and that's an unbelievable finish. If it is Francois Cross.
On the line. You got it clear.
There you go, the referee, touch combining, superb. Yes. It was coming, you can just see it's the French again, the offload game. They just love it.
We thought he might have touched the ball. It's virtually impossible to say whether he has actually touched the ball in that movement.
You can hear the TMO, I think that was from the Willemse.
Yeah.
When this ball goes back, but again, look at this, just out. Beautiful play, out the back door, this time just handing off to Villiers. Holding. Gillon, as you said, scored that try in Cardiff. Ball comes down, so easy.
And look at the dexterity of Francois Cross right at the end. But how did he get his hand through?
But again, superb play, but keeping his depth. Gillon there knew he didn't have the pace to go, but he keeps his depth. Ntamack Genge does unbelievably well. There you go, he's over. You're allowed to do it. One movement, he's on there.
Marius, can you confirm maybe?
Moment of glory. Just before half-time.
A second France try, and now an opportunity to take a 12-point lead into half-time, and Jaminet could not have done that more perfectly. The half-time whistle has gone. France within 40 minutes of the Grand Chelem. 2 tries, the first coming from Fickou, the second from Cross. England are on the rack.
Sky Sport has the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup.
It's time to shine, best believe. Yeah, it's time to shine, yes indeed. We're my girls, now let's roll. We're turning up, yeah, it's time to go. Where the party at? Gonna bring some soul. We're here with the good stuff, the good stuff.
My goodness me, a moment of brilliance.
Live in Aotearoa. Let's go. White Ferns, England. Today live on Sky Sport 3. Coverage proudly brought to you by ANZ.
For sports fans who love it fast.
As Murph would do.
Strap in for Sky Speed. Get the good oil with McIver and Murph.
What an amazing result for New Zealand motorsport. Yeah. Just keep your hands on the wheel. See, you just don't stop, do you?
Just try and keep up.
Go, go.
Sky Speed. Tuesday on Sky Sport 5. Brought to you by BP Ultimate 98.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. You are more than welcome to the Aviva Stadium in Dublin for the start of the Guinness Six Nations for 2022. It's Ireland against Wales. It kicks off a festival of rugby. Kelleher and Ireland go to the maul, and as I say that, Van der Fleer peels away, and Caelan Doris takes the ball up, and Ireland well inside the Welsh 22. Ringrose steps back inside, but he's wrapped up. Tompkins, I think, is the one to make the tackle. Tadhg Furlong is chopped down. Still though there for Ireland. Jonathan Sexton on the wraparound. Here's Mac Hansen, pass outside. Bundyaki! 2 minutes, 17 seconds. Ireland have the first try of the Guinness Six Nations 2022. Mac Hansen involved. And ominous signs for Wales as Ireland were in complete control.
You can absolutely see that coming with the dominant carries that Ireland were making then. They were completely sucking in and shortening the defensive line, which basically means space out wide.
Here's Andrew Porter, puts the head down. Looks to burrow for a yard or two. It was Ryan Elias who made the first tackle. Tadhg Furlong, lovely hands. Jonathan Sexton, Sexton out wide. Conway steps back inside, needed to do it, keeps going, 5 metres short of the Welsh line. Gibson Park, did he knock it forward? James Ryan gets his hands on it. Ronan Kelleher. Wales commit 3 to the tackle, which means there's likely to be space out wide. Tadhg Beirne goes to ground. Ireland dragging Wales one way and then the other. Caelan Doris again. Gibson Park will dig it out. Wales back in that defensive line. Up quickly. Shoots bigger to put Jack Conan to ground. Sexton, Bundyaki scored the first try. Ireland have advantage. Wales offside. Gibson Park dinking behind. Rhys Zamas alive to the danger. But we'll come back for the penalty as Ireland up the tempo.
Which number?
And up the creativity as well in attack. Slight irony in the cheers from the crowd. Ireland lead it by 10 points to 0. Wry smile from Jonathan Sexton. Ball presented beautifully for Gibson Park and Sexton. And Bundyaki, as Hansen called for it. Ringrose went short. Caelan Doris.
Not on it.
Gibson Park again. Out wide now to Mac Hansen, but that wasn't a pass that you come to expect from the Leinster and Ireland scrum half. It gave Hansen no opportunity. And after a lot of ball in play, we're into the final minute, and psychologically that is a big win for Wales. Thomas Williams confirms that the clock has gone red, that this will be the last passage of play, flings it to Biggar, who eventually sends it into the crowd, and that will be that at the Aviva Stadium. A game that burst into life in the opening moments and then sort of petered out for the rest of the game. Ireland dominated for large parts, but Wales have hung in there and done well as the game went on. A try for Bundee Aki, converted by Sexton, who added a penalty at half-time. It's Ireland by 10 points to 0. Irish line out, 6 metres short. Tadhg Beirne, Josh van der Flier, Kelleher in to receive around the narrow side. Wales holding on, but holding on illegally and dragging that ball down. Second time they've been penalised. Advantage to Ireland. Aki, and then Sexton and Ringrose, and up to the 5 metre line. Quick ball for Gibson Park. Out wide it goes. Andrew Conway puts his foot on the gas and is in. Conway for the corner. The TMO will decide. Andrew Conway will provide that evidence. Short.
Oh, that just looks short to me. He's not in touch, but I think the issue would be the grounding.
Now this will be the one.
You say it'll be the one.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, the player legally moves the ball forward to the line and scores a try.
All in one motion.
All in one motion.
All in one motion. Conway gets the try. Ireland get their second. The question really there was, would it be ruled as all in one motion or a forward momentum that would have been enough forward to get it to the line? In this passage of play, there have been 3 bone crunchers. Advantage being played for Wales for a high tackle. After it goes Josh Adams. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Sexton on the receiving end.
So this is coming from a kick through from Thomas Williams. Wales had penalty advantage.
So what my initial on-field view was that you both went for the ball. We had a look there. You're nowhere near the ball, you drop a shoulder. There's not head contact process, but it's reckless and it's a leading shoulder. Highly dangerous. It was your penalty over there, so turn it around. Okay. Thank you.
Kelleher to Ryan and the maul. Van der Flier, Kelleher, Gibson Park.
They moved off the ball
lovely hands through that three-quarter line. Mac Hansen for Andrew Conway. Conway uses the feet to get another yard or two. Now Ireland at pace. Tadhg Beirne, Van der Flier, Josh Van der Flier, almost away. Terrific tackle, and it needed to be from Rhys Zammit, but Ireland on they come relentlessly. Caelan Doris, 3 metres short. It's a green wave that just keeps coming at them. Gibson Park, Conway, third try for Ireland, a second for Andrew Conway, and in the end it was inevitable. All coming from wonderful hands and great pace from Van der Flier in the middle. Remarkably, just a second penalty that Ireland have given away in this game.
And release, tackle out!
By contrast, Wales have been pinned on 9 occasions.
Roll the ball back, and stripped.
There for Ireland, Gibson Park, Jonathan Sexton, Mac Hansen hungry for it. Bundee Aki. Ringrose has Conway outside him. Ringrose will do it all himself. Magic from Gary Ringrose. Bonus point try for Ireland in the first game of the Guinness Six Nations for 2022. And Gary Ringrose puts a cherry on top in this second half.
They have certainly turned into the clinical Ireland that we saw in the Autumn Nations. Lovely little rip there.
Bundee Aki.
It's not on it. Release! Outside. Taken back.
Murray. Beirne. And it's stolen by Basham, and out of nowhere Wales will get their first points of the championship. Taine Basham gets in. There was a big tackle in there. I think it was Thomas that made it. We'll confirm it on the replay. But it spilt the ball free, and Basham was there to profit. They have to do the work. Van der Flier, Beirne, launched into the air, but holds onto the ball. Hume, Ringrose out wide, the man of the match, the debutant, Mac Hansen, sets it up. And that will surely be that. It is. Jakob Faber calls a halt to a game where Ireland have been in control for most. In the end, they'll consider it a terrific first day at the office. A bonus point win at the start of the Guinness Six Nations Championship. They'll take it every day. Final score, Ireland 29, Wales 7.
Something that comes to mind for a try that I've been involved in.
Yeah! Turns him inside out. Tuivasa-Sheck is away and running. Oh, see you later. Frame that one. How good was that from Tuivasa-Sheck? Tuivasa-Sheck! That is sensational. Oh! Has a bird flung backwards.
Back in 2018, I was playing for the Vodafone Warriors. They were playing Canberra. And I think it was our last game of the season. We just got bummed out of making the playoffs. So coach said, hey, go out there, let loose and see how we go. And you see all this work here, and then there's me sitting up, try. And then who gets all the credit? Me.
He's a superstar of our game.
How good. So, yeah, that's my famous try. There you go.
Ever since I got bit by that spider, I've only had 1 week where my life has felt normal. That was when you found out.
When you botched that spell where you wanted everyone to forget the Peter Parker Spider-Man, we started getting some visitors. From every universe.
Hello, Peter. You're not Peter Parker.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Dr. Otto Octavius.
Wait, no, seriously, what's your actual name?
There are others out there. We need to send them back. So, Scooby-Doo this crap.
You know, all this is kind of your mess. I know a couple of magic words myself, starting with the word please.
Please, Scooby-Doo this crap.
You're flying out into the darkness to fight ghosts.
What do you mean?
They all die fighting Spider-Man. It's their fate. I'm sorry, kid.
Left wanting. I mean, they've carried the ball 436 metres to France's 213. It's what they've done with it after that, not a lot.
Quite a lot of those carry meters coming from a certain Ellis Genge as well.
Second one.
So the knock-on coming from France. An early error.
It's a great kickoff, you've got to say. But you're asking Ellis Genge to do his main job, his day job, which is pushing. And then he's carried that ball 83 metres out of those 436. Underhill's made 11 tackles in that first half.
Let's hit it up.
But the biggest thing for me is France's offloading game. This is when space happens. 7 offloads to 0 from England. But
well, there you can see that is certainly another significant statistic. France with 8 handling errors. That perhaps hints of what maybe their advantage could have been, and even half of those stuck. Here's Slade. On to Marcus Smith. This is promising for England. Elliot Daly, the first half replacement for Jack Noel. The arm is out from the referee. Just the start to the second period that Eddie Jones would have been looking for. So they've got the penalty if they want it. There's the kick pass. It's out to Jamie George. Well, that's a real skill, which Marcus Smith so often gets absolutely right, but not that time.
Well, you've got to say Marcus Smith.
I do understand that, but immediate attempt. If you roll immediate, I will look at that.
Okay. Papers just having a word with Dupont, the captain. I take 3 here. That's a not, start the game with some points, and that's exactly what England have done.
But first
don't get greedy and go into the corner. But it's interesting, like you said, Slade just drops in there to number 10. And then you've got Marcus Smith out the back door with the likes of Elliot Daly running off him. So, oh well, what do I know? Go into the corner, right? You make this call, you've got to come away.
Confidence or hubris.
I'd have taken 3, but there again, these guys know it's got to be their killer move. They've got to do this as clean as possible.
Very close to being their best field position of the match so far. And it's come after just 2.5 minutes of this second half. Jamie George, now can he get the first bit right? They go to Ezekwe. France successfully disrupting them all, but England do have it. Stewart, he has the first carry. Held up by Julien Marchand. Here's Youngs. Genge, not so many metres carried that time. On to Youngs. Simmons, who is deadly from within 5 metres. A real jack in the box. Stewart, that was anticipated by that well-orchestrated France defence. Courtney Lawes, the captain. He too, held up. It's there for Underhill. Paul Willemse, and that time the ball has gone forward. A defensive triumph for France.
There you go. Their exit's been pretty good. Their defence has been pretty good. And really, you had to score. You go for that corner, you've got to come away with at least 5 points, if not 7. You haven't. That will lift France there. Again, as soon as you do a move like that, it means everybody literally, you can't give France can't give England time to come down with the ball. They can push straight away. So that went down, and then it was just one out rugby. England not looking for any offloads whatsoever. You've seen what France want to do with the ball. 7 offloads to 0. They're not moving the point of contact. And that was, again, in a sense, it was just another England mistake.
We saw Paul Willemse there. Since France won their last Grand Slam, Willemse has appeared in a World Under-20 final for South Africa. Now very much a Frenchman. He's got the passport. He's got the blue jersey as well. There's Danty. Danty, who plays his club rugby these days, overlooking the Bay of Biscay at La Rochelle. Cameron Woki, he too originally from the northern suburbs of Paris, but now playing for Bordeaux-Bègles, who are going so well in the French league. Another huge clearance there from Dupont. That was well gathered by Daly. Here goes Furbank. Now, can England make something of this? It's on to Itoje. He's dragged to ground by Aldrit. Smith. Lawes. Within 5 metres of that France 22. Marcus Smith taken round the ankles by Francois Cross. The score of that second France try. A thumping hit there on Underhill. Here's Youngs. Marcus Smith perhaps getting frustrated. That was superbly anticipated by Romain Ntamack. Ntamack, who sends Daly scurrying back. Here it is for Dupont. Dupont considers the option, sees perhaps a hint of a gap there between Furbank and Smith, but didn't quite hit it where he wanted to. Quickly taken by Ntamack. Jaminet.
Hold it!
It's Smith again.
Outside.
Steps Dupont. On there to Marchant. Courtney Laws.
That's it.
Cameron Woki was looking for something there from the referee.
Go back. Offside. Too early.
It was Dupont actually.
You're outside thing, but you start too early.
So again,
No,
England
it's not
just
late
about
tackle.
win that
The scrum
kicking
is,
duel. I thought France would have been quite happy taking that line out, but they went quick.
Yeah. Here's your penalty. The scrum is over there. Penalty and scrum over there.
Well, there are 1 or 2 Englishmen blowing a little bit, Derby.
I think with anxiety as well, really. How do they get back
Penalty
in this
here,
game?
scrum this. Late charges,
They
penalty,
have to
penalty.
start creating something. But it's not in their DNA at the moment. It hasn't been most of the tournament, you've got to say, apart from
Number
Italy.
9 was outside
And well
of
done
10,
for Italy today, beating
but
Wales.
he went too early.
The joy of winning a game, you can just see that down in Cardiff. England do try. That was good refereeing because certain refs could have blown that as a danger. It wasn't dangerous because he's gone down around the midriff. It's such a ferociously quick tackle.
Youngs, Smith, Slade, Marchant at pace.
Try.
Great step. Such an important tackle from Francois Cross. It's still alive though for England. Marcus Smith, Elliot Daly, out there to Stewart. Stewart cuts in field, and the Leicester Tiger has got England's first try of the night. They're back in the match. The Grand Slam remains in the balance.
Hallelujah, a direct line, Marchant. Again, France used their big ball carrier, Danty, on times. This time it was the England. Well, he's got 13 on his back, but he plays like an inside centre. That is a super, super, super line. Again, you think I went a little bit too early. I thought he was just going to brush out of Penaud's clutches there as he comes through. Penaud does well just to hold him back. But again, this time the ball is absolutely superb. It is quick, you can move. The forwards get involved. Smith just holds it back. Players are deep. Stewart, like you said, he's a big fella under the high ball. He's even bigger coming towards the try line there. You're not going to stop this man. Steps back inside into Matt Villiers there, and once, at last, you could say England have created something and finished. Good score.
Well, England are so wary that since they last won the championship, remember that very long championship which lasted 9 months in 2020 when they rounded things off in Rome, they've lost 5 of the 9 matches since then. Marcus Smith, straight out of the middle, turns on his heel the moment he struck it. He knew it was good. The deficit is down to 5. And England have made an alteration. Kyle Sinclair, who took a bang to the head last week. France also making changes. Jean-Baptiste Gros is on. Also there you can see Pito Movaka, Paul Willemse going off. Jean-Baptiste Gros is on. Movaka there, and also Roman Taufifenua. Taufifenua, who couldn't play last week in Wales after testing positive for COVID. And that chase just maybe had a little bit more speed and venom about it from France. They know
Stay last feet.
This match still hangs very much in the balance. Now it's the English voices that can be heard in the crowd. Jaminet being shepherded into touch by Sam Underhill.
That's what England need to do. That's what they had to do at Twickenham when they went down to 14 men just after a minute or so. Simmons doing so well. That's a good chase from Penaud.
I want to count 1, 2.
And then just push him into touch. That's what you want. You've got to fight for every inch. You've got to stop France doubting themselves.
catch from the captain, Courtney Lawes. There you can see confirmation of those alterations that have been made. This is so much better from England. The arm is out from Jakub Paper. It's a penalty to the men in white.
16.
Coming
in from the side there, France.
Mavaka, the hooker, just been pinged, just come on, just been pinged, and that's what England want. They need to build things, like I said, put that seed of doubt in France's play, push them off the game. Again, they've been uncharacteristically bad as far as sort of dropping the ball when the players have gone through, but that's what you've got to play on. No one really give England a chance. But again, just buy a penalty, get some territory, get down there.
Very indisciplined there from Mavaka. Fired down by Zinkwe. Slade. Here's Marchand again, cutting that line. And that was Geelong, was cutting him in half. Smith. On here to Slade. Off the right foot, another one for Stewart to chase. And that was always out of the question, really.
Yeah, Marchand, they were trying it again. It was never going to happen the second time. Geelong puts him right down on the floor. But again, it's the right decision from Slade. Nothing on, don't panic. Again, Slade played quite a lot of 10. You see the territory in the second half, that says it all. England in the right areas at the moment. France still ahead by 5. But again, keep pressurising.
Mavaka finds Cameron walking. Well, the Stade de France, as noisy now as it has been all night. Stewart chases his own kick, and he's got there. What a match this man's having.
Lay on.
Slade. On to Jamie George. England once again in the France 22. Sinclair pops it up. There goes Genge. Yet another carry. Slade. Smith. Simmons with a step. Gets through the tackle of Ntamack.
No!
Youngs. Sniping around the fringes. Itoje, basketball style. Gathered by Furbank. He did well to get it onto Smith. Here's the captain. Straightens things up again, does Courtney Lawes. There was no compromise there from Genge. Smith. Jamie George cuts in field. That was quite a collision with Geelong. Smith again. That time to Underhill. Well, it's another breakdown triumph for France. And how timely was that?
Well, there's a lot of wind being blown out through cheeks in the Stade de France because England were building some momentum there. They were going for the kill. Again, they were gaining yard after yard. It was good. They weren't getting isolated. The speed of the wreck was good. They're actually offloading. Bit of hot potato going on, but that's what you've got to do, move the point of contact. Unfortunately, they just got themselves in a bit of bother right at the end. And they did do it, but this is superb from Stewart. I was thinking, no, keep the ball in hand, but actually if there's anyone better in the game of receiving the ball and kicking a ball and then receiving it back, it's probably him. Biggar does the same for Wales, doesn't he? They're very, very good at it. There's Genge taking a ball, absolutely superb. Busted tackles. And there you go, Fickou, just one too many, unfortunately.
There's Mohamed Hawass, wearing 18. How much it would mean to him to come here and win a Grand Slam. The man who's had his troubles both on the pitch and off it. There goes Mavaka. He offloaded to Woki.
No more!
The intensity has gone up a couple of notches. Ntamack. The pass loose there, but gathered by Villiers. There it is for Dupont. Taufi Fanua, cut down. Dupont. Fickou, over the top, palmed on. Once again, it's that right boot of Furbank. But it allows France to create something again with Fickou. Spinning and turning and pirouetting. That's Aldrit. Dupont. Just for a moment.
In the way. Sorry.
The referee getting in the way.
I'm in the way.
Well, you don't know which way they're twisting and turning and going, and well, I'm not the only one, clearly. The referee from Bloemfontein suffering himself.
We've got a very interesting game here when we're almost into the last quarter. France are trying to get through the gaps, the offloading game. That's Muvaka to Wookie. Again, they're just trying to get round England or through England, offload that ball. Villiers, an absolute handful. But England, fair dues, they're playing their part in this. They've come back into it. That's unfortunately... he's hurdling, he's jumping out the way the referee has to. Frenetic stuff. But again, it's a good opportunity for France.
12 years ago, the France captain was Thierry Dusautoir.
How are we going, Cody? You all right?
The coach was Marc Lièvremont. Remember him? A starting hooker, a certain William Servat, who's here today as a member of the current France management team.
Here we go again.
Hookers in, let's go.
What are France going to do? Where are they going to load? On that left-hand side? That's where Intermac's standing.
Yeah, I'll bring him in.
Jaminet's moved up onto this right-hand side with Penaud outside. He's had very little ball, Penaud. He's a tremendous finisher, absolute handful, but they haven't been able to get the ball to him. Let's see what the captain Dupont has to do. Where's he going? Or will they want a three-pointer? Do they want to push England back? Well, we'll see.
The Stade de France sensing that this could be a pivotal moment.
Both of them. Yeah. We've got to improve. Both of us, better. Height and stability.
Well, two of France's Grand Slams have been completed with the wins against England here in 2004 and then in 2010. Both were nail-biting affairs. In 2004, France won with a 3-point margin. And 6 years later, it was just 2 points. So there are plenty of Frenchmen and women who perhaps are here tonight.
He fell in because he took the bind away.
Who've been through this sort of agony before.
Let's do this again.
Jakob Paper saying last time. I hope it's the last time, because again, it just sucks the life out of the game, doesn't it? How long have we spent now on restarts? It's got to be 2 minutes on this one. An important part of the game.
Control. Proper bind.
The Mexican wave starts.
Bind. Set. Time out.
Well, you've got to say we had no problems, have we, in this area until the subs were made. Listening.
It was really good for a long time. Yeah, but now you're playing with your bind as well, so you're contributing. Both of you fix it. Stable, control, let's get the ball in.
Two real scrappers on this side of the scrum. Ellis Genge and Mohamed Hawass. There's Mohamed Hawass. Last month he was handed a suspended prison sentence. That's why he was away from rugby for a brief period. So he's a free man. Will he also become a victorious one? The clock ticking on towards the hour mark. Intermac misses out Dante. Here's Fickou. Stewart got hold of just enough of him. Aldrit with the dummy. Powerful carry there from Cameron Woki. Intermac. Penaud. Penaud, anxious to achieve what his father did. The Grand Chelem means so much to France. Intermac. Taofifenua. Aldrit. Onto the ball, and the captain is through. Has the World Player of the Year delivered the Holy Grail?
Well, they think so. The Petit General, the little man, he ain't little. Maybe just in stature, in rugby playing wise, he's the best there is at 9 in the world. But again, who makes this try when it goes back left to right? Penaud, I was saying he hasn't had much of the ball. This is what he does. He creates something, and it's Aldrit. Aldrit goes in. Howard straightens into the thick. They don't panic. The ball goes back, and I'm sure it's Aldrit. Taofifenua initially. Again, Bosch, and watch this. Here you go. 1, 2, offload. He's normally the offload king, Dupont. He scores tries. And is that the one that's going to carry France to a Grand Slam? Beautiful from the number 8. 8-9 combination once more. How many times have we seen that in this Guinness Six Nations? And again, has it won it? You can't say till the final blow with this England side. They showed the courageousness of them, and the passion and the proud and the power they can exert on side, but has that broke their hearts? Because France won't stop. They'll play their exit game, and they'll keep going to the 80th.
Jaminet adds the 2. Jamie George is struggling. Well, if this proves to be the enduring image of this year's Guinness Six Nations Championship, the man at the centre of it, well, it couldn't be more appropriate. The best player in the world may well have delivered the most telling blow of all. And there he is again, Dupont.
The 8 and 9 for France. Aldrit wasn't well down when he played Wales down in Cardiff. He'd been poorly all week. I don't think he ran with the team. But you can see how important he was, even in that scrappy win. But he's such a world-class player. And you've got that combination at 8-9, the fulcrum, the decision makers. They've got the best in the business at the moment, and everybody can play off them.
Okay. Think about the future of France, and we look at that 9 and 10 combination. Antoine Dupont, Romain Ntamack playing together for the 13th time in a Six Nations match. Well, when France last won the Grand Slam 12 years ago, it was Morgan Parra and Francois Trindouc. Now, we thought they were together for years. Well, in fact, they only played together 15 times in the Six Nations. And consider, Ntamack is still just 22, Dupont 25.
Down all the way.
There is every chance that this pair will be together for a number of seasons.
Harry Randall needs to come on now for England, just to have some energy out there.
The lead is 12 points. Penaud rises, slightly mistimes his jump. Referee says it's good. Claimed by Woki. The charge down from Ollie Chesham. Rather fortunately, Dupont gets another bite at it. Here's Aldrit. On to Taofifenua, one of the senior citizens in this French side, in excess of 30.
Well, Dupont's left-footed exit didn't quite work. He's brought that into his repertoire. But that one's far better off his right foot. France get the line out, they get the pressure, and you can feel it building. It was noisy at the beginning, it lulled a little bit, but I think the French crowd now, with 15 to go, can smell it. Never say never, but there's enough experience. France played their get-out-of-jail card in Cardiff. And you've got to say, if they score another couple a year, I've got to say Eddie Jones's position as head coach is as precarious as probably navigating your way around the Arc de Triomphe on a penny farthing. Because again, he just hasn't been able to. He talks the talk, but unfortunately England haven't walked the walk in the Six Nations whatsoever. Dombrandt again has been underused.
The French fans are out of their seats again. Ntamack. That was to Danty. Randall is on for Ben Youngs. There's Aldred. Back here to Germany. The attempt at the drop. That was charged down by Dombrandt. Pinot. Huge boot. There's Randall underneath it. Now this fella can run. Comfortable catch there for the fullback. Well chased by Elliot Daly.
It's a rock. And use it.
Little more than 14 minutes to go.
12 points the difference. If France can take their time, they can go for territory, which they will do. They'll just kick it now.
Back goes Furbank.
Oh, this could go horribly wrong for France.
So it's a scrum all the way back.
Option.
Doesn't make many mistakes.
Can't quite believe it, can he? Right, England. You are drinking in the last chance saloon at the moment. You've got to do something from this set play. Difficult. But again, I think Danty and the way people use a big lumping inside centre, I still think there's a place for it. England really haven't got one at the moment, or utilise one. There must be someone around. This Kelly lad from Leicester, not a bad player. You know, they straighten defences. You know, and it's not flash and it's not whatever, but then you miss them out for the next move and the ball goes behind them.
There's a mark.
Antoine Dupont, 13 tackles.
But he's a back row forward. You think, oh, he's tiny. Well, he's not the biggest. Harry Randall, smaller than him, but physically he's like Villiers. Physically, they're pound for pound the strongest on the field. Right. 13 minutes, 12 points to get. Just the draw. So something needs to happen. What's your A call? What's your kill code? We need it. England. Noel sits on and watches. He's hurt his wrist by all accounts. Elliot Daly's right behind the pack. Marcus Smith is directing matters. He's in the chariot. Here we go. Last roll.
Set.
They're trying to buy 3 to go into the corner, and they may have done it.
Advantage.
They have the penalty advantage. Away goes Randall. So it's a free shot for England. Well, they all got rather in one another's way there.
17, Lucy.
Penalty there going against Jean-Baptiste Gros, one of the Toulon players in this France squad, which is dominated by players from Toulouse. 9 of the 23 from the club who are the current French champions and the European champions, although perhaps partially as a consequence of their great success on the international stage. They're not doing quite so well in competitions at the moment. They're out of the top 6 in France, and they are struggling a little bit in Europe as well.
There's plenty of time for this tremendous side. Went into the doldrums into Toulouse once, but again,
numbers.
A very powerful Toulouse means normally a very powerful French side, and that's like reflected, as you said, 9 out of the 23s there. They sit 7th in the top 14, but I think they'll sort that out after this Six Nations. Now, England, can you sort this line out and get over the line and make this a very, very tense last minute? So, sorry, 10 minutes or so.
Advantage.
They've got another penalty advantage of England. There's Randall. Well, the chip over the top, which hasn't really worked. Oh, he's gathered it. Who knows? It may yet work for England. That's Henry Slade being held up. We will come back for the penalty.
Collapse.
It goes against Cameron Woki. There is Paul Willemse. He has been ever present since Fabien Galtier took the job. Ten minutes remaining at the Stade de France.
Hang on.
France's golden generation.
Contact lens.
They won back-to-back under-20 world titles in 2018 and 19, and so many players from that squad are here now. And it was all about the project to go and win a home World Cup. Now, what a stepping stone this would be.
Yeah. You're right now? Let's go. All good. Right.
There is William Servat wearing the fluorescent orange bib, the Grand Slam winner in 2010. He was up there with his club mate, holding the trophy. Thierry Dusautoir, the France captain back then.
17.
This is all about experience, isn't it, for this French side? World Cup on home soil in 2023.
George finds Chesham.
Yep. Ball was at the front and tackled.
It's there for Randall. Look at that France defence. They were like sprinters in the starting blocks. Randall. Oh, Dombrandt with a carry. Can he get it down? He's forced back. It's held up.
No.
Now,
what's the decision?
Let's just listen in here.
Ball's over the line, goal line drop out.
There you go.
Ball's
Goal
over
line
the
drop
line.
out.
On the
That's
line.
the new rule.
Yep.
If it had just been before that and they could have recycled it, that's fine. I'm not quite sure they're looking on in disbelief, but again, it's one of those new rules. If you get held up over the line and you've carried it, you get
play
a drop out
We'll wait
anywhere
that scrum.
along the try line. You can see where Jamie George is. You've got to be 5 metres away, and France will just take the time. There's a contact lens problem.
Where's the ball?
I'll tell you what, they're difficult at the best of times.
I don't know how they do it. I really don't.
He got filthy, sweaty
I allowed the exact same
fingers that may be twitching a little bit as well, Jean-Baptiste Gour. But he's a nerveless fella. He's got it in first time.
Jaminet now. Big, long.
A chance for Dombrandt to run.
No,
He's met
don't
by
look
the
it.
tackling
Ball-
machine,
no.
Francois
Ball's
Cross.
No influence.
Randall. Ntamak is hanging back. Slade's after it.
Lost forward by White.
Lost forward by England, so there is an advantage being played here. We'll come back for the scrum.
And they'll take their time on this. Harry Randall again going for the French skies. Thought they might just try something, putting
6 and 4.
one of the backs in on a crash ball just to try and dent. That's when England have looked their most dangerous.
Reinforcements to the back. Francois Cross has had a cracking night.
He's had a better night as well, Woki, isn't he? The line-out fell apart down in Cardiff. The line-out caller that threw most of them to himself. England supporters are happy. Well,
okay.
They would be. They're in Paris. They're going to have a good night, I'm sure, but I don't think they're going to reel on the end of a good result. One that changes English rugby whatsoever.
Thibaut Flamand
Let's go.
is on, so to Dylan Cretin. There's Flamand, who arrived at Loughborough 4 or 5 years ago as a student, as a fly half. Played in the 5th team at university. They turned him into a lock forward. He got a contract at Wasps. And now
Out to the middle square.
he's back home in France at Toulouse.
Well, I know Dombrandt started off at 10 at, I think it was Wallingham RFC. So he's converted into an 8, so it's a progression, isn't it? never goes the other way, forward to a back, really, does it? It's always sort of back to a forward.
I think you were a scrum half through and through.
I was. Played one game at centre when I was about under 20s or whatever, something. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Crouch! Alex Dombra packing down on the side of the scrum.
Set!
Dupont with the put-in. Randall all over
Behind
him.
9!
No, you're not allowed to do that.
No!
And Tamak. Out there to Jaminet.
That is
huge kick.
Sorry, Mark, but that's well worked. It's the old wiper kick, really. 9 to 10, 10 to 12 or 13, using the right foot just to nudge it. Well, we never used to kick it that far, I can assure you. These new balls, new boots, whatever it is, that's just sailed over the halfway line. That's an exit. They're smiling. They know this game ain't going to slip now. 6 minutes to go. It'll just be a defensive pattern from Shaun Edwards' boys.
Shaun Edwards, 3 Grand Slams in his 11 years with Wales. This could be his 4th, but his first with France. And he has made such a massive contribution, not just to the defensive patterns, but the discipline, the approach to the game. Chip over the top. After it goes Elliot Daly. But it was Pinot who got a hand to it, and you've guessed it, that man Dupont, who eventually got it into his hands.
And rock!
There goes Movaka. Dupont. Another hefty boot there from Jaminet. Here's Marcus Smith. He's got Furbank for company. Here's the Northampton fullback. Penalty against France. Randall's off and running. The pass there to Slade.
Just check that, Marius, quickly.
There's Dombrandt. Marius Jonker, I think, has been asked to check the height of that tackle.
9 was in the way, that's why the steal came.
There's Marchant.
Had a good game, Marchant.
There was nothing
Smith.
clear on the field.
Jamie George. He's been everywhere tonight, has the Saracen. Marcus Smith. That's meant for Stewart again, and Stewart's onto it, but it's Villiers who almost picks it out of the back of his pocket.
Away! He just doesn't want to kick it, does he? Surely the right option was to hoof that downtown, somewhere near Saint-Denis, 50 metres, but no, he'll just carry it out. He believes in himself, believes in his team just to get there and leave it up to the skipper.
Well, there were 1 or 2 people in the more distant and darker corners of the Stade de France who were rather worried about that one. But Gabin Villiers right in there to save the day. It's a 12-point points difference. We've got 4 minutes to go. England have to get a try, surely, in the next 2 minutes. Here's Jessup.
No, don't milk it.
Earning his 2nd cap, the Tiger. Made his debut against Italy in Rome. Smith. And Smith can't find Daly. And surely that is it now.
If you milk it again, I'll penalise you.
Tick-tock, tick-tock. Harry Randall having a word with Jakob Paper there and just said, if you just shout at me again like that, I'll penalise you. So frustrations are boiling over for England. France are just keeping their shape. They're keeping their belief. They're backing themselves. Shaun Edwards' defence, he said, right, unless you've got a broken leg, I want you up in that line. And that's the game. You work harder almost without the ball than you do with it. They've got incredible skills attacking-wise. We've seen that. The offloading kills defences. They've got pace by abundance. They've got good place kickers, ferocious forwards. And now they've got a defence too, which is world-class. You put all those together, you've got a very, very, very good chance of becoming world champions. I know it's a big goal. There's plenty of time to go, and there's some big teams going to come up against them. But if this team just keeps building and building, they will take some beating.
Well, Fabien Galtier has now emptied the bench. Maxime Lucu is on. Antoine Dupont leaves us with 4 minutes to go. Also on is Thomas Ramos. He has replaced Melvin Jaminet. So all 23 Frenchmen are going to have played a part in this Grand Slam winning contest. There's Maxime Lucu. What a story his is. A late bloomer in terms of professional rugby. He was playing in the second flight just 3 seasons ago. Now in his late 20s. And wearing the blue of France. And on his way to being a member of a Grand Slam winning squad. Itoje. 3 minutes remaining. And if you just look at some of the names of this France squad are walking in the shadow of now, or stepping out of that shadow, the long shadow cast over 12 years by the likes of Yannick Jauzion, Mathieu Bastareaud, and Dombrandt getting caught. It's gone forward. The number 8 back in 2010 when they beat England here to take not just the title but the Grand Slam. Emmanuel Harunordiki, remember him. Julien Bonner, Dusautoir the captain. Lionel Nallet himself, a former France captain. Nicolas Mas, one of the world's great tight heads. Thomas Domingo, all Grand Slam winners 12 years ago. But these men are the new heroes, and perhaps predictably, it is Antoine Dupont, the France captain, who is the player of the match.
France are just comfortable within their skin, aren't they? The way they play. You know, they didn't have a very good game against Wales then. I don't know, I keep mentioning it, but France sides of the past would have capitulated. They would have just maybe lost that game and some. They didn't. They found a way to win, and they're finding a way to win by playing rugby. England trying to flick a switch when you just can't do it overnight. You can't come to a place like this and start playing an offloading game, which you haven't been comfortable with or even tried.
Patient.
Bernard Laporte looks on. Might be having a glass of one of his wines later, possibly. The good and the great are here because this clock is ticking, and it's ticking away for England. It's ticking for France. France have won their first Grand Slam in 12 years, and well done to them.
Just caught a glimpse there of a former president of the Toulouse club who have provided 9 players in this 23 here. Now the chairman of the French League. All the great and the good of France rugby are here.
Well, if I was a betting man, I think this might go down and take another 30 seconds. Or is Luca just going to smash it in? There you go, it's gone down.
Take it away, keep later.
Take a minute.
Take the pressure off.
Take your time. Pushing too early.
Take the pressure off.
Job done.
Let's go.
For the second straight Guinness Six Nations, it is going to be a third defeat out of 5 for England. They will finish third overall, but they will do that having only won 2 of their matches.
That's great captaincy. Whether Fickou is the captain, probably is, but he went to the ref, pushed his fists together, said scrum please. Because again, it's a given ball really. England are just giving a free kick away. The clock again is ticking. You got 20 seconds. This ball will come in. Luca will probably put it into Rose. Well, he will put it into Rose. Then he won't even probably go back to Intermac.
The tricolour France flags are flying.
France. Boy.
Good place to be on a Saturday night. France winning the Grand Slam. Here we go. It's in the red. It's in the red.
Gregory Aldrit fires it into touch. 12 years of underachievement comes to an end. This new generation are truly golden. A full house is celebrating. A full house for France.
I don't think you have to say anything, Martin. They're in tears. They're in tears of joy. They've done their job. The pressure was on them, and they have come through.
Cyril Bay, alongside Antoine Dupont and Julien Marchand. The Toulouse triumvirate. It is France's night. And in the end, they have won with plenty to spare. Well, I guess in the Project Laporte, Bernard Laporte I'm talking about, this is a stepping stone. They want to be back here in 18 months' time, beating not just the Northern Hemisphere, but the Southern Hemisphere as well. But in those last 12 years, Dowie, they've finished bottom in 1 year. They've had a couple of fifth places. They have underachieved time and time again. But Fabien Galtier and a team with so much experience, 8 Grand Slams between them. Well, they've put here a side who have beaten emphatically the rest of Europe. They wobbled a bit last week in Cardiff, but tonight, apart from a period really early in that second half, they were dominant.
It's all about experience. It's Fabien Galtier. I played against Fabien. He was a sensational player, but he's got one better, Dupont. He's made him captain. He's put faith in the under-20s. He's brought these guys through, and he's played them. And that's it. And he's played them with a bit of style. He says, go out and express yourself. Yes, there's a game plan. There's, you know, you can see they kick the ball a heck of a long way, and a lot of times as well. But when they're on this offloading game, you can call it French, because I go back in my days into the 90s, whatever, Blanco and the like, Seller and the like, they were playing that type of game. But it's a more controlled game. It's powerful. It's professional now. You know, they've got all those nuances, plus he's got the flair and he doesn't stop them. And you know, the biggest thing for me is watching a bit of television and watching them in the training camps, whatever. They've got a blooming big smile on their face all the time. You watch these England boys, they're almost too scared to smile. And I wonder where that's coming.